Which of the following are accurate descriptions of the distribution below? Okay, so we have a dot plot that represents gas mileage for each car at Miley's Motors. Okay, so we see two clusters. Let's see the options. The distribution of the cluster from 33 to 37. No, from 33 to 37, we have a cluster of nothing, of no data. So this is not correct. The distribution has a gap from 38 to 42. No, this is not a gap, this is a cluster. So this is not correct. So the correct answer is none of the above. So inaccurate description is none of the above. Okay. Let's move on to the next question, which, let me first copy the question to the board so I can draw on it. So this is the question. Now I'll copy we have here a histogram. Okay. So the question is, which of the following are accurate descriptions of the distribution below? And we see a histogram of Anka's score in Happy Bears by game. Number of points. And here number of games. So she got 0 to 10 points in 4 games, 10 to 20 points in 7 games, 20 to 30 points in 3 games, and so on. Okay. So option A, the distribution has a gap from 30 to 60. Okay. So we have here indeed a gap from 30 to 60, where we don't have any games with number of points from 30 to 60. So this option is correct. The distribution has a peak from 80 to 90 points, from 80 to 90 points. Okay. So we have 5 games where she scored 80 to 90 points, but this is not a peak. The peak is here from 70 to 80 points, where she played 8 games with this score. So this is the peak and not 80 to 90. So this option is not correct. So only option A. Okay. First, I'll copy the question to the board. Take this down. Now copy the dot plot. We have here a dot plot that represents snow days each year for Chalden Middle School. Okay, so we see here an uneven distribution, a distribution that has a tail to the right. And okay, the distribution has an outlier. This is correct because the bulk of the data is here. And 10 is definitely an exceptional value compared to the other data points. So option A is correct. The distribution has a cluster from 7 to 9 days. From 7 to 9 days we have no data, so this is not correct. So only option A. now we have a histogram. This histogram shows test scores by student in Mrs. Friend's class. Okay, score on a 20-point scale. So number of students and the score. So 0 to 1. One student got a score between 0 and 1. One student got a score between 8 and 9. 3 students got a score from 10 to 11, and so on. And we see the distribution has a peak from 12 to 13 points. So 12 to 13 points is not a peak because we see here that 5 students, this is the number of students. So 5 students got a score between 12 and 13. So this is a trick answer because you see here that the peak is 12, but 12 does not represent points, it represents the number of students, and the peak is for this bucket between 16 and 17 points. So 12 students got between 16 and 17 points, but between 12 and 13 points, only 5 students got this score, and this is not the peak. So this is not correct. The distribution has an outlier. This is indeed the case because we see that one student got a score between 0 and 1, and this is way below the bulk of the data. So this is correct. So this dot plot represents what? It represents programs created by each student in CS 220. So again, we have a left tail here. It's not symmetrical. See that we have an outlier. So let's see the options. The distribution has an outlier. This is correct. Okay, number of programs, 0. So one student didn't create any program. One student created 3 programs. One student created 4 programs. And we have the peak here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students created 9 programs. Okay, the distribution has a gap from 7 to 8 programs. This is not correct because we see here that we have many data points. The gap is here between 1 and 2. So this is not correct. A is correct. B is not correct. So this histogram shows the length of each putt made by Jose Graham III. Okay, number of putts and the length in meters. Okay, so between 0 and 1 meters, he made 20 putts. Between 1 and 2 meters, he made 20 26 or 27 paths, and so on. The distribution has a peak from 9 to 10 meters. No, from 9 to 10 meters we have a gap. We don't have any data from 9 to 10 meters, so this is not correct. The distribution has a gap from 6 to 9 meters. From 6 to 9 meters from here to here, there's no gap. There is data points here. We have a data for this range from 6 to 9, so this is not correct. So none of the above is the correct answer. And last question. Let me first copy this. And this dot plot shows music experience for each student in Mrs. Day's class. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students has 0 numbers of years of experience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students have 1 year of experience, and so on. So the distribution has a peak at 4 years. Number of years. 4, this is not the peak. The peak is here at 2 years. So this is not correct. The distribution has a gap from 5 to 7 years. No. This is the range from 5 to 7 years, and we see data points here, so this is not correct. So none of the above. Good. Okay, so I've finished this section. In the next video, I'll take the quiz number 4, and it will be about shape of data, distributions,